What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to another all-new HNN. Tons of stuff to talk about today. First up, major news for the future of the X-Men franchise, and then a new report potentially reveals the villain of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and some major Thor Ragnarok plot details. But first, major news out of the Fox Marvel Universe where director Bryan Singer has confirmed that he will be stepping away from the X-Men franchise. In an interview with the LA Times, Singer spoke about his most recent film, X-Men Apocalypse, which debuted this past weekend, and how he sees it both as a finale for the First Class trilogy, but also kind of as a direct prequel to the very first X-Men movie, which he also directed back in 2000. But the shocking reveal came at the end of the interview when they got to the kind of, oh, what's next for you part of the Q&A. The director then announced that after Apocalypse, he will be stepping away from the franchise, as in his words, he wants to do something very different. So let's take a look at his quote. "The reality is, I love this cast and the characters so much. I just don't see myself abandoning them forever. Perhaps as a consultant, as a producer, even as a director, I could see myself returning in the future. Just right now, once this one is done, I'd like to do something really different." Okay, wow, this is huge news. I honestly didn't even see this coming. I know I said in the HNN yesterday that I wouldn't be shocked if there were some shakeups, but honestly, I wasn't really expecting shakeups of this type at all, looking at how Singer has kind of been a mainstay in the franchise since 2000. So while this took me by surprise, it's not really a complete shock. I mean, he did Days of Future Past and Apocalypse back to back, but he's always made it clear that the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea adaptation was going to be his next project. So that was probably a good sign that he was going to be stepping away at least for a time, but I guess the big shocking thing to me is just the suddenness of it. I mean, he's said this kind of immediately after Apocalypse opened. And really the most interesting thing to me about the comments that he made to the LA Times is the fact that he sees Apocalypse as a direct prequel to 2000's X-Men, which kind of calls into question where they go next as a franchise. I mean, they had talked about a 90s X-Men film taking place at least partly in space, but it seemed like that was Singer's idea, and while they still could definitely do it, if he's not there to enact it, it seems like the future is just wide open for the franchise. The one thing to remember is that while he's stepping away, it could just be temporary. He wants to go pursue other projects, and I'm kind of just having flashbacks to when he stepped away after X2 to go do Superman Returns and then Valkyrie, and then finally wound up coming back for Days of Future Past. And I'm not going to be one of those people running around singing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" now that Singer's gone either. He had a huge and undeniable impact on the genre of superhero films. And honestly, in my opinion, thanks to X-Men and X2, he's kind of the father of modern superhero films. But honestly, right now, I think him moving on might be the best thing for the franchise. So this kind of amicable breakup that we're seeing probably is for the best. But in that spirit, and with Singer out of the way for at least a couple of future movies, tell me in the comment section below, which director do you want to take over the reins of the next X-Men film? In our next story, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 2. A new report from Joe Blow has revealed a ton of stuff about the film, as well as a ton of stuff about Thor Ragnarok, but we'll get to that in a minute. The big news out of the report, though, is that the villain of Guardians Volume 2 will be Aisha, aka Kismet, aka Paragon, aka Her. The site cannot confirm that she of the many name changes will be played by Elizabeth Debicki, but kind of seem to point the finger in her direction, given the physical appearance similarities and the fact that Debicki's role is being kept heavily under wraps. So why is this important? Well, in the comics, Paragon was created by a group of scientists called the Enclave in their second attempt to create a genetically perfect being to kind of save the human race. When she escaped their control, she went on the hunt for their first attempt, him, who's probably better known as Adam Warlock. And while this is definitely just personal speculation, I don't know if she's really going to be the main villain, or if she's just going to be controlled by somebody, or if she's literally just doing anything she can to find Warlock in the movie, because usually she's not really an evil character. And a lot of outlets have reported that Kurt Russell is going to be playing Star-Lord's father, but I've also heard that he might be a villain. So maybe he's the one pulling the strings? So what do you think of this? Let me know in the comment section down below. But in that same report, Joe Blow also dropped some massive details for Thor Ragnarok. And nothing's confirmed yet, so take all of this with a grain of salt, but there could be potential spoilers ahead, so don't come back like next November and yell at me for this. Reportedly, the film will heavily feature the Planet Hulk storyline, with Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster running the show, and yes, Hulk will be wearing the awesome Gladiator armor. And also, if you're a fan of Chris Hemsworth's luscious hockey locks, you might be in for a shock, because apparently he's going to be rocking a shaved head for at least a part of the film, so prepare yourself for that. Maybe that's when he's in the arena though. But the most massive part of this report might have revealed the central focus of the film, so let's take a look at the quote. Thor's mission in the film is that he needs to find the ultimate weapon to stop Ragnarok and reset the universe. Ooh, mysterious. You know, for those of you that have watched the Marvelite, specifically maybe some of the episodes that I've been on when we talked about Ragnarok, I've had a big gut feeling that the Time Stone was going to show up in the movie, thanks to the fact that the Norse mythological version of Ragnarok has a lot to do with the cycle of death and then rebirth. So maybe this is a clue pointing in that direction. So of course, be sure to check out the original article for a lot more info on Guardians 2 and Thor Ragnarok, including some details on characters like Valkyrie that we didn't discuss in the video. But let me know in the comment section down below, are you more excited for Thor Ragnarok as a result of this report or not? But that wraps it up for another H&N. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw, subscribe for more great content every single day, and consider supporting us on Patreon for access to all sorts of exclusive goodies that we're rolling out in the next couple of weeks. Signing off, this is CJ. I'll see you next time.